So, ladies and gentlemen, let's invite our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, standing in for our Vice Chancellor to come up and join in his lordship on the day's topic. You're most welcome. See with you.
Good afternoon, my Lord. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Olamide Okoyemi Obishefa. I'm the head of Department Clinical Level Education, School of Law. It's very nice. It's very fresh. It's very nice. It's really tight. It's very kind of together. You know, like that. It's, you know, like that. It's really, yeah. It's really, it's not, it's just, Snake, I think you made it. I'm talking about Disney Joseph understand on your percentage and when we should it's actually but yeah what's the because you so it's the guy so the and that's not the experience perfect and become I'm going to be the attacking for education. My Lord, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, my colleagues, fellow staff members. Good afternoon, students. My name is Nyapidi Brenda. I am a lecturer here, and I'm also a teaching and learning coordinator in the clinical education department. Thank you. Good afternoon, my Lord. Good afternoon, others. My name is Kanada Viva. I am the president, and I'm a law student. Good afternoon, my Lord. But this is the time I instructs for the and what we can do to instructs my Lord. So the president, thank you. Thank you so much. It's so much. We will start this to exercise and to others still to those way also request you in your skills. This is the first one. To those items, which will be explaining self-love justification to just the future. So, stop this is to practice because you can feel it seems possible and proceed saying this is something using something to learn. Now, especially the presence of the campus administrator, the vice chancellor is immediately absent, the least representing, especially the presence of the speaker, being students, my colleagues in the school admission are dear students. Today is here to listen to this important topic, plans, guidance, now, this to learn this is with specific location. I'm going to listen to Alex, one who is here with experience. Well, take you through select practice, which will not experience once. Now, rare opportunity to study this special one of these. As the electoral system, it needs some continued consistent for me to see as which presents unique opportunity for you to learn, widen your knowledge. Yes, first keep this. Yes, as young lawyers, for you to learn and understand the legal intricacies with trans-border legal practice. I encourage you to pay active attention, listen, ask all the questions that you need to ask, because you represent our next generation crop of lawyers. If you don't benefit from this wealth of experience, a time will come that even us will be affected. A time will come that I will not be in Uganda. I might be somewhere in Kenya.
and I might need your services, and I want it to be very professional. So I advise you to listen and allow me on behalf of the Vice Chancellor to appreciate our guest speaker, who out of his very busy schedule has created this time to be here with us. I also appreciate you students for the massive turnout. This is an indication that you are very responsible students, students who are focused, students who are committed to learning new knowledge, and indeed, I am extremely and exceedingly proud of you. I assure our guest speaker that you have the best group of students in KIU, and that after your lecture today, in no distant time, you'll be very proud to see your products out there manifesting the positive impact you are going to give to them today. So for the interest of time, allow me to stop here as I wish you all a fruitful and an insightful academic discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Please, another round of applause to our VVC representing the Vice Chancellor of Kampala International University. My Lord, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, and that's, I think the DVC, standing for the VC, has set the ball rolling. And at this point, the person responsible for the teaching, the Dean School of Law, will officially welcome the guest speaker, His Lordship, and all the staff and members of Kampala International University Law School community to this very, very important public lecture. I therefore take this singular honor to welcome the Dean School of Law, Professor Akira, to come and make his remarks. Thank you.
My Lord, Honorable Justice Smile, J. Chibita, Justice of the Supreme Court of Uganda, Chairman Board of Trustees in absentia, the Vice Chancellor, ably represented by my immediate boss, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, all DVCs there present, the University Secretary, Campus Administrator, Deans, Principals and Directors, all head of departments there present, all lecturers there present, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, the Guild President, LOSA President, my erudite Kampala International University School of Law students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Glory be to God in the highest for grace and mercy to witness this unique day in the lives of the KIU family, and especially the School of Law family. My noble Lord, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this August event taking place in the month of September. Through the support of the Chairman Board of Trustees, we have been able to build upon the legacies of our past leaders in the KIU School of Law family. Between February 4, 2024, I assumed office as the KIU School of Law. We have been able to improve greatly upon what we met and grant. Chief among which is the reduction in all manners of student complaints. My Lord, we have the following modest achievements as a team. Number one, graduation of the first ever PhD graduates in the law of environmental justice in Uganda, in person of Isubi Esther, PhD. And I interest in the number of PhD students enrollment, which stands at over 150 students in our graduate school as of today. Restoration and improvement of morals and value system in our students, publication of 3 issues of the KIU journal, as Volume 5, Issues 1 and 2, and Volume 6, Issue 1, 2024, with scholarly contributions from East and West Africa. Strong collaboration of the bar and the branch across Uganda, prizes in a number of month and mock trial competition with our students coming tops. Graduating over 200 law students and sending their name to LDC. An additional 92 students already sent to LDC out of the number graduating in November 2024. Reforms in the school of postgraduate program managed by international studies located by the CBOT and management from within and outside Uganda, from Nigeria, Cameroon, Sudan, and third-party courses taught by scholars from Kenya, India, and Pakistan, just to mention but a few. Introduction and implementation of a full-fledged Department of Medical Legal Education component for practical application of legal skills to the KLU School of Law students. We have recorded geometric increase in the number of applicants to KLU School of Law, totaling over 1,600 applicants in the current August-September 2024 intake. Online and in-learning teaching, especially academic people, and several remarkable achievements which time will not permit me to elaborate. My Lord, distinguished elders, as I come over to this public lecture, being believed by jurists of highest integrity and a number of students, permit me to record especially the North Law students whose friendliness as international legal experts continue to do more. I deeply appreciate my colleagues at the KLU School of Law for their sense of dedication to duties and uncommon work. Special thanks to the Chairman Board of Trustees and Management of KLU for giving out and favor and necessary support to make this unique occasion a success. And let me say that my first encounter with my lawyer was in Abuja, August 2011, at the Chibita African Conference. At that time, my lawyer was the judge of the High Court of Uganda. I'm seeing my lawyer for the second time in my life today as a justice of the Supreme Court of Uganda. Glory to God. If you practice your worship, I have a singular honor and privilege to welcome you to the KLU family indeed. Thank you, my Lord.
Please, another round of applause to beloved team. It is truistic that the leadership of Professor Akiola has made very remarkable strides in the School of Law, and we appreciate you, sir, for your leadership, for your charisma, for your dedication, and your sense of duty. At this point, my dear students, colleagues, and friends, I want to welcome one of us to tell us a bit about our guest speaker is. I know that we will take months, if not years, if we were to say everything about the learned justice, but then we are calling on one of us, Ms. Amir Jennifer, to give us a resume of who the learned justice of the Supreme Court is. The most welcome. For lots of them.
Good afternoon, my Lord, once again. Everybody in their different capacities, once again, good afternoon. My Lord, I take this opportunity granted to me by the Dean School of Law to read your citation at this mentorship series. Justice Chibita, Mike, as is well known, is a prominent figure in the Ugandan judicial system, currently serving as the Justice of the Supreme Court of Uganda, a position he has held since 2020.
Before his appointment to the Supreme Court of Uganda, he was serving as the Director of Public Prosecution from the year 2013 to 2019, wherein he demonstrated exemplary leadership and played a crucial role in the country's administration of justice. Justice Chibita's journey in the legal field began in 1994 when he was appointed as the state attorney under the Attorney General's chambers, constituted under Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs upon his return to Uganda. Prior to this, he had shared his expertise as a lecturer in African history and international relations at the University of Northwestern, St. Paul in Roseville, Minnesota, United States of America in 1993. His commitment to public service led him to serve as the Private Secretary for Legal Affairs in the Office of the President of Uganda for 7 years until 2003. Recognized for his talent and dedication, Justice Mike Chibita was appointed to the High Court as a judge in 2010 and served in the District of Masaka before being relocated to Fort Portal. His career trajectory showcases his commitment to justice, legal expertise, and dedication in serving the community in various essential roles. As a respected member of the Supreme Court of Uganda, he continues to inspire aspiring legal professionals and remains devoted to upholding the rule of law in Uganda. In addition to his legal career, Justice Chibita is actively involved in the religious community. He holds an esteemed position as the president of the Bible Society in Uganda and serves as a council member of the Scripture Union of Uganda, contributing to their mission and values. He also serves as the patron for Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, an association of Christian legal professionals, also a non-governmental organization. Aside from his legal career, Justice Mike Chibita is married to Professor Monica Chibita, a lecturer at Uganda Christian University, School of Journalism and Media Studies. He is a father of 5 and has 1 grandson. My Lord, it is an honor to welcome you to Kampala International University. Thank you.
Right, of more thoughts that we have been instructed by the technical team. Okay, so that's it. Yes.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, for that citation. Could you please resume your seats? The representative of the Vice Chancellor, the Dean, management of the Law School and Kampala International University. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. A pleasure to be here this afternoon. And Dean, I'm glad that there are many brothers and sisters from Nigeria here, because I've been to Nigeria a number of times, especially to Abuja and Lagos. My first sojourn into Nigeria was in Lagos. And all the times I've been to those towns, it has been a very, very wonderful time, very welcoming community. The first time we went to Nigeria about 20 years ago, of course, there were stories about Nigeria and Nigerians and how they will take our property and they might kidnap us. You know all those stories following the Sarawiwa and so on. So we went, but we said, no, this is Africa. We cannot stop going because of rumors and so on. So when we reached the airport, I was with a number of students. I think we were 10 in number. So eventually the taxi came to take us out of the airport. And as we were getting out of the airport, about 100 meters, one of the people we were with said, oh, I have forgotten my bag where we were. And we said, how can you forget your bag? Moreover, in Lagos airport, of all airports. And so as we were pondering how to reverse, we saw somebody running with a bag, running after the taxi. And we stopped, and the gentleman said, one of you has left your bag at where? And I've been running 100 meters to get this bag to you. And so that was our introduction to Nigeria. Against all the rumors we had heard, the pleasant experience that at the airport somebody had picked up our bags and actually gone out of his way to bring it to us. And that is when they say actually action speaks louder than words. And so we shared this with the people and so on. And from that time, I realized that travel is a great experience. It's a great teacher. You may hear things, you may read things, but until you have been there, you should never draw and jump to conclusions. I'm glad to be here. I have been to KIU very recently again. I am becoming too frequent a visitor, but I'm glad to be here. My topic was about regional practice, but I thought I should take the liberty to expand from regional to international, because why do you want to restrict yourselves to regional when the whole world is available? So I have entitled my talk International Legal Practice, because in any case, much of the same principles that apply to cross-border in East Africa will apply internationally. As an introduction, it is my hope that nobody forced or coerced you into studying law. I know, at least in our generation, I think this generation is different. Your parents will tell you this is what you are going to study, and we were obedient enough to go and study that. In fact, stories are told of where parents told the students, you are going to study medicine. And then out of obedience, you studied medicine. And there are stories about a student who graduated with his medical degree, and at the graduation party, he said, Daddy, your degree in medicine is here. Now I'm going to study BCom or something else. Because our generation was very obedient and respectful to our parents. I know that this generation is different. There are scattered instances of obedience and law abiding. But the point is that I hope you took law out of your own volition. Why I'm saying this is because more than any other profession, in my view, one needs to study law and did become a lawyer out of passion and conviction rather than out of compulsion or coercion. The reason for the need to have passion for the law is that the law is not like any other profession or vocation or trade. The law is best undertaken as a service, as a ministry, as a calling. Indeed, according to Psalms 89:14, righteousness and justice are the foundations of God's throne. And as we know, law is a great avenue towards justice. And many of you have already been through jurisprudence and all will know that law does not always necessarily deliver justice, but it is one of the avenues that will lead us to justice. So it is important that you are in the law because you love the law, because you like the law, because you want the law, because you are called to the law. Maybe coercion. Part of the reason we have all these esteemed lecturers all the way from around the world, and part of this public lecture is to convince you that there is no other profession, there is no other course that will give you satisfaction and will deliver justice to the community like law. So are you crazy about the law? Why are you particularly in law school, or why do you want to become a lawyer? And I ask this because people go to law school, want to become lawyers for many different reasons. You want to become a famous, of course. You want money bags, lawyers are reputed to be very rich people, they have money. Or do you want to discuss justice? You want to see justice done? Is it because you want to make a living, any profession, and this was the one available? Or is it for prestige? And it could be any of these reasons, a combination of them, one of them, two of them, and there's nothing wrong with any of them actually. We know very, very famous lawyers because we are all tuned to the United States of America. We know about Johnny Cochran. I think he passed away the other day. But in the trial of O.J. Simpson, remember the famous, if it doesn't fit, acquit. Making themselves very, very famous because of their mastery of the law, cross-examination, and being able to get off the hook people who have been arraigned before the courts. Of course, we have our own here in town. There is currently a matter which is going on, which is being serialized in the newspapers. And, the lawyers are in the newspapers every day appearing, cross-examining, and that kind of thing. So there's, and of course, yes, as a lawyer, you should be able to stand out by living a decent life. Because if you are to represent other people, you must present yourself as somebody who is not going to take their money at the first excuse. So you must be able to be presentable, to have some means. But also, we now look at what branch of the law are you interested in? Because the law is very, very, very broad. You may not know it. You see all these professors, associate professors, doctors in law, and they are in academia, they are training you. That is just but one of the areas where you can you can settle. There's private legal practice, maybe, which is the one which is known most. Everybody wants to open up a law firm and represent people and earn some money. Then there's a branch from where I come, which is the judiciary, adjudicating cases. And we have everything from grade 1 all the way to Supreme Court. You could be aspiring for that. Or you want to be a corporate lawyer, you want to work for the banks, you want to work for MTN or Airtel, those kinds of organizations. You want to be in the corporate field. Many, many areas of the law. Or you could be thinking about what we are talking about, cross-border international legal practice. And the foremost international avenue for legal practice is the United Nations. And the United Nations alone has so many different organizations. International Labour Organization, United Nations Organization on Drug and Crime, so many under the UN. You could decide that's where you want to work. Or the World Bank in DC, and many, many lawyers there. International Monetary Fund, also based in Washington, D.C., headquartered. The International Criminal Court is another place where you can work and practice internationally. We have a number of our Ugandan judges and lawyers working at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Justice Solomon Bossa, Justice Nahania the late was working there. Justice Tibulia part-time works there. Many, many Ugandans working, and it's another avenue. We also have the International Court of Justice, again at The Hague, where just Julia Samtinde is vice president. And we are now just talking about the judges, but when you think about the staffers, the people, the researchers, and the lawyers working, many, many opportunities. We have the African Court of Human and People's Rights, now based in Arusha. And you know that our own Justice Gaswaga was sworn in, I think, today or yesterday, and has joined that court. And we have had some other. But again, apart from the judges working there, their support staff. We have the African community and the African court based in Arusha also. But internationally, there are international non-governmental organizations. I'm thinking about World Vision, working internationally all over the world. Red Cross and Red Crescent, International Justice Mission, so many international organizations. So if you just wanted to work internationally with an international organization, with the UN, the sky is the limit and you'll be spoiled for choice. But of course, we talked about private legal practice, where the majority of us eventually will end up, and then you have a choice between criminal law, which is what most people know about. When they hear about lawyers and law, it is criminal law. Will you represent me when I have a traffic offense, when I'm charged with this and the other? And it's the one which is the most dramatic and the most entertaining. In fact, I was talking to colleagues that the criminal law has a way of entertaining, even when it is a tragedy. You are handling a murder case, but there are always incidents brought on by lawyers and witnesses which make it a bit entertaining. In the midst of tragedy, there's comedy, and that is criminal law, and I think that's why it is appealing to the public. Of course, you were told I was director of public prosecutions for 6 years, so I have a bit of intimate knowledge in that area of the law. I am just thankful to God that I am no longer there. I don't necessarily miss it, but we also have the civil law, which is opposite of criminal, and under that we have the land, family, commercial. Now the sky is the limit, cyber, animal law and environmental. So many branches of the law, so many. And of course, you were talking about cross-border practice here in East Africa, and of course, East Africa is now large. It used to be 3 countries, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. Now we have Rwanda, Burundi, we have Southern Sudan, we have DRC, we have Somalia. So it's a bigger block and it is getting bigger. You remember when we had the presidential petition, the first one was 1996, I think, and we got a Kenyan lawyer to represent His Excellency the President when he won and he was being challenged. We got a lawyer called Kaminwa. Some of you were not yet born. But the president, the lead lawyer, was from Kenya with another one called Wamalwa. He's now, I think, a minister there. So cross-border is very possible. You can go and get a temporary permit in Kenya or in Tanzania or any of the East African countries. This has been facilitated. And of course, we have the East African Law Society, which is trying to address all this. But you can practice also across Africa. As you've heard, we have something called Advocates International, which brings back together Christian lawyers from across the continent, basically to share these kinds of things. And you can, of course, practice internationally. I did my master's in the University of Iowa, and I could have done my bar exam there. So in each state of the United States, each state is like a country. If you want to practice, you must do a bar exam there, and then you qualify to practice. Some states have mutual understanding that when you have a birth certificate from one, you can practice in another. But of course, the biggest bars are New York and California, and then you can practice there if you want. But the question is, which I asked myself, which I asked, is why would you want to enroll in the bar in Iowa, New York, and live a beautiful country like Uganda? Why would you want to go and live and practice there, especially when there are options? And the options that are available are, you can actually affiliate with a law firm in that country, and they can do. So there are ways of doing this without you being there, either physically or without having enrolled in that place. And that seems to be the most smart way of doing it, rather than you going and sitting the bar in Lagos, Nigeria. You affiliate with the law firm there. When you have a matter, you refer, and if you really needed to be there, you can go and sit with them and be in attendance as the matter is heard. Why would you want yourself? That is a bit old-fashioned, in my view. The modern way of doing it is get in touch with a law firm in Nigeria and tell them we have a matter. And whenever the matter comes, then also when they get matters, they can refer them to you. It's a smarter way of doing things. And indeed, I've told you about Kaminwa, and right now I'm connecting some farms from Uganda, from Nigeria, from Kenya. They come and they say they want to affiliate with a medium-sized farm. Do I have any recommendations? And so on and so on. So the smarter way and the modern way of doing it is you don't have to be there physically. You can ask somebody to do it for you. Of course, we have what we call corporate practice. This is practicing in the public arena. Attorney General's Chambers is one of the premier places if you want to practice civil law. And as you heard, my early days, that's where I started my practice. I was in Department of Civil Litigation, so I was an expert in the law of torts and the law of contracts. And at that time, in my team, we had our director as the late Justice Reju before she became a judge, and we had somebody called Nasa Tumwesige. And the lawyers were always very scared of us because we did not believe that a matter should go to full length when we can terminate it at a technicality. So we are always knocking matters out on technicalities, and we always, and of course, there are pros and cons of that, but for us it made our work very easy, and it also helped the lawyers do their job, because why haven't you paid filing fees? Why have you filed out of time? And it was matters like that. Why have you not given Attorney General the statutory notice and that kind of thing? Those were the technical points we were knocking out in place. But of course, and of course, Attorney General's Chambers is very wide. It has, for us here in Uganda, you have litigation, you have advisory services, you have Administrator General Public Trustee, you had registration services for register of deaths and births, you have first parliamentary council drafting, which is a subject which is not very well known to many, but it's one of those where specialists are on high demand. One of my classmates ventured into drafting, and he was always on the move. You who want to practice across borders, he practiced in Botswana, came and got retained by the East African community. At the time of his death, 2 months ago, he was working with the Attorney General in Seychelles. Basically, he could never settle down. He had retired, but they just needed, because again, it is an area which is not very well subscribed, but it is on demand because the laws have to be drafted and all that. Of course, we have the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. There are some people who are very passionate about prosecution. Actually, in some jurisdictions, I think in Spain, you either become a prosecutor or you become a magistrate judge, and the payment is the same and so on. So I met this lady and said she could never become anything than a prosecutor. She just enjoys prosecution. It's in her blood, especially going against human traffickers and that kind of thing. Prosecution is an area that you can get in and get very, very passionate about. Of course, there are other public service sectors that you can get in. We've talked about them. Then there's a corporate world, which involves banking, and these banks are international, Standard Chartered, Stanbic, Afrexim Bank, based in Cairo, East African Development Bank, African Development Bank, headquartered in Abidjan, many Ugandans and many nationalities working there. Of course, you could work for any of the telecoms and you'll be moved around. I included breweries because the breweries are now becoming, I think, the former Nile breweries, so Uganda breweries now owned by South African breweries. So you can move around. Cement is also another. Taxation, I worked a bit with Uganda Revenue Authority and their bodies of taxation, East African Revenue Authorities Association, there was Africa Revenue Authorities, there is the International Revenue Authorities, all these authorities for prosecutors, international organizations, and so on and so on. So if you wanted an international flavor, any of these will deliver that to you. But before you get into that, you need to know the keys to a successful practice. How do you become a successful legal practitioner? And basically, I'm saying the keys to a successful international legal practice are the same as the keys to success elsewhere. You know, success, it has the same keys at a certain level. Once you're good at certain things, then regardless of where you are. That's why you see CEOs move from one organization, from a telecom to a breweries. So the CEO, they are moving them because they have certain unique things that are common. And one of them is hard work. Whatever you do, whether you're a farmer, whether you're a lecturer, a judge, no shortcuts to hard work. You must be hardworking. You must do the work. And that is the biggest key to success. So this, the other one is work ethic. Work ethic means the ethics of work. In other words, what is the quality of your work? And how do you deliver the results? Do you deliver them through the normal rigorous practices, or do you take shortcuts and use other people's work? That goes for ethics and integrity. And of course, you know, it is not being corrupt, not engaging in corrupt practices. And of course, again, the examples I know are from my generation about the big tax scandals that took place and shook the auditing world, because again, the auditors were taking shortcuts and they were sitting on a time bomb. When it was exposed, it was like, what were the auditors doing? Every year they were giving a bill of health, but now the thing has exploded. It's because they were taking shortcuts and not being true to the ethics and integrity. Of course, the discipline. And discipline, we are talking about time. There's no way you'll be hardworking and ethical if you don't respect time. As you all may know, and the people who have traveled will tell you, everywhere in the world, everybody has 24 hours. I've not been to any place where they have 23 or they have 30. Everybody, or rich, white or black, male or female, everybody, God was very democratic in this. Everybody, they take you 24 hours and it's up to you. And as you know, some people are always crying that there's no time. There's no time. Other people talk about, I need to kill some time because I have too much of it. I don't have something to do. That is a very, very unfortunate thing when you realize. Of course, there is a story of the young man who asked his dad that, how much do they pay you an hour? And the dad said, why are you asking me? And he said, I just want to pay for 1 hour of your time because I never have any time with you. So just tell me how much they pay you and you give me just 1 hour. That just speaks to the value of time and the importance of ensuring that we put the time where it is supposed to be. There's a formula which I learned about 8 times 8 times 8. So it goes like this. On average, people put in 8 hours of work or school. You do 8 hours on average. Of course, some people do 10, others 6, but on average it's 8. And the other thing that we do, again, everybody must do it, is sleep. Everybody must sleep or fall asleep. Some people sleep in class or in public lectures, but those ones are discounted. We are talking about sleeping, legal sleeping in bed. And again, on average, people sleep for 8 hours. Again, some will sleep for 4, others 10, but on average, 8 hours. So when you have the 8 hours of sleep and 8 hours of work or study, how many hours are those? 16. How many are you left with out of 24? You have another 8. Hence the formula 8 times 8 times 8. Now the question I will leave you with you, which is the challenge on time, is those 8 hours, what are you doing? Because you are neither sleeping, maybe you should neither be sleeping nor studying or working. And it is a full block of 8 hours. What are you doing? I have been told that the most successful people have found a formula of utilizing those 8 hours most productively. The day you get a formula for utilizing the additional 8 hours productively, you will have found the formula for success. That is one school of thought. The other thing that discipline is courtesy. You know, in law, lawyers can be arrogant and proud and, but there is a place for courtesy even in the legal profession, or especially in the legal profession. And what do we mean by that? What does it boil down to? Of course, one of the things we do in the legal profession is you say hello, especially to your seniors. You lift for them books and bags. When you are in court, as you introduce yourself, you introduce the other party. And it's amazing how even at the Supreme Court, somebody comes and says, I'm Albert Mokalasa, representing the appellants. And he sits down. And we say, can you please introduce your colleagues as well? This is a courtesy of the legal profession. And, there are things about, letting seniors go first and that kind of things. Courtesy, you can learn. And then the other thing under discipline is presentation. I think the reason we ask, I'm not one of those who started it, but I found it. The reason why we were asked to wear ties and duck this and the other, it's this whole thing of presentation. Can you imagine if there was no dress code among lawyers and say you go to court the way you want? Wow. I think it would be like a theater or something. But because of presentation, we have to be presented in a particular way, smart and not attracting attention to ourselves. That's why we talk about dark colors. We don't want you to come in a yellow suit or a red suit for that matter. Dark colors only, presentation, because our profession is a disciplined profession and we set some trends. That's why we have to wear ties and flaps when we go to court, because we need to present a certain picture. So presentation, even as a law student, you need to present. And I need not overemphasize this, but presentation is not just in dressing, but it is how do you carry your books? How do you carry your notes? Why do you see lawyers with the bags and they're almost uniform? When they are those bags, they are all. It's because they want to present, This is not far-fetched because some people actually want to carry their books and notes in polythene bags. If you are not strict, you find somebody coming to court with a polythene bag. And so I have a story about polythene bags. I was interviewing, I was on a panel before I became a judge. And of course, you know, another interesting area is when you are interviewing people coming for jobs. And this is for you students going for interviews. So again, you get the whole array. Some people will come with their folders, nicely laminated and so on, and they put on the table. So this one particular interviewee, you know, if I was hearing this story from somebody else, I would say they were exaggerating. But believe me, I witnessed it with my bare eyes. As Molini would say, no Google glasses. So this one interview comes in with, you know, the black caveras. Yeah, so he comes in with it, and we say, of course, lay your papers on the table. And he gets out the documents. And as he gets out, there's a cloud of smoke or dust emanating from the Kavera. And all of us, the interviewees, of course, the interviewers have to take a step back. Because, and then we realized this young man, who was a young man, had not looked at these documents, I think, for several years. So cockroaches and rats, I think, were competing to have a go at his testimonials. So, because of the amount of dust it was raising, you know, we told him, no, it's okay. You don't have to remove them. And we had an interaction with him. But, you know, when he left, all of us said, no, we cannot. We don't have to consider him as a candidate because maybe we were unfair, but, you know, presentation is what I'm telling you about. All of us were put off. We said, if you cannot look after your testimonials, really, how will you look after the property of the organization? So presentation is not just in dressing, but the other things you go with. Keys to a successful practice: networking. Networking is a very wide area. You know, no man is an island. This includes women, and that means you have to talk with other people. If you ask each of these professors of yours how they came here, they would tell you very, very interesting stories of who connected them and how, and so on. Something called networking among the legal profession, you can never overemphasize. You need to network because that's how you get to know opportunities. And how do you network? It is through lectures, through seminars, through associations and all. And you don't need to network only within your homogeneous group. You need to go across. The other thing which your generation is not very willing to do is volunteering. Volunteering, where you say, I've come and you have any work for me to do, and so on. They say, no, we don't have that position. We don't have money to pay. Say, no, I'll work. You don't have to pay me. And of course, as you volunteer, you excel. And as you excel, the person you're working with realizes, I could make use with this person. Again, through interviews, we were interviewing for one position, and the two top people, they were very, very good, both of them. And we told them, would inform them on who we had taken. So we all agreed that we could not afford to lose both these people because they were equally good. Guess what? At that moment, we created another position for the second person, which was not there, but he was so good, we needed to retain him. And so, whatever you do, you need to do it to the best of your ability. Another thing to a successful practice, especially cross-border, is you need to travel. You cannot aspire to do practicing in Kenya with Kenyans or Tanzania, and you have never been there. You know, travel has become much easier now than before. But I say, start at home. I come across people from Central, and they have never been beyond the River Nile to go to Mbale, or have never been to Mbarara, Kisoro. So what do? Your world is Kampala International University and Kansanga Kabaragara Munyonyo, and you want to do cross-border practice when you can't even do cross-district. No. So please start small. Get a road trip with friends. Go to Guru. Go to Arua, see your country, and then eventually you begin developing the appetite and the tolerance to be able to do cross-border and international practice. I've talked about leadership, but because lawyers, our profession by its very nature, we are leaders. Wherever you are, I can assure you, when I worked for the president, there were different departments, all of them. But whenever there was something that nobody could do, they say give it to the lawyer. Because lawyers cannot shy away from work or from anything and say that's too complicated or how you must get an answer. Challenges, that is what we do. We are up to any challenge because if you are a judge or a lawyer, you're handling a construction matter, you must know engineering and you talk to the engineering, electrical and civil in order for you to prosecute or persecute or cross-examine successfully. So, as lawyers, you are leaders. John Maxwell says a great leader influences others towards the common good and sets out the visions and influences others towards that vision. A great leader's courage to fulfill his vision comes from passion, not position. You don't have any position, but you are a leader wherever you are, and you should assume that role. That when there is something that needs to be done, you are going to do that thing. Leadership is influencing people positively towards a common vision, and there are so many times when we need to have leaders take up position because of the situation demanding so. What are you influencing others to do in your sphere of influence? As a student, as a community person, what are you doing? So, what do you need to do now in aid to this international practice cross-border? Of course, how many people have passports here? Let me see by show of hands. Yeah. So, how do you want to do cross-border international when you don't have a passport? You see, there are some things, but I guess that's why I'm here to tell you. So you have an excuse. You say that is your job to tell us what to do. So, you never carry out something when you need it. You should do the thing before you need it. In other words, you should get a passport before you need to travel. You should get a driving permit before you even get a car or before you need to drive. These are some things, when I'm talking about people killing time. The people who don't kill time, they find that, what could I be doing? I could be learning to drive. I could be getting a permit. I could be getting a passport. Nobody will say, why are you getting a passport when you are not traveling? It is your right. So please, from here, you can go and inundate immigration and say, we want passports, and you can say, it's just Chibita who told us that it's our right to get a passport. But when the opportunity comes, you cannot now be running around. I need a passport, and they have told me to take 2 weeks, but my travel is in a week. What were you doing before? So get a passport. Secondly, you need to study hard and smart. You need to read as a student. There are no two ways about learning the law. You have to read those cases, you have to read those textbooks. And I cannot believe how lucky you people are, because when we were going to law school, of course, it was only Makerere. And to get any reference material, we all had to go to one place which was called the cage. And you had one copy of Laws of Uganda, one copy England Law Reports, and so on. And imagine 60 people descending on that, everybody wanting to refer to that. You guys now, at the click of a button on the phone, you have almost anything. You don't even need to go to any library. You have it with you. I'm very, very envious. And yet, you find students who are not well informed, not well researched, what excuse really do you have? So you need to study, you need to know those laws. For us, we can tell you some cases which we always would recite offhand. Ex parte Matovu, Attorney General against Muonge, Rylands and Fletcher, Cassels, all those we had because they were so notorious and they helped us remember. What cases do you know in what subjects? Research on areas and places of interest. Please don't go to the internet just to do TikTok and what are the others, Instagram. What value, if I may ask you, what value does a law student get from TikTok? What, at the end of the day, if they say, okay, you can go for a break there for 5 minutes, but for you to spend an hour when you could have been researching, it would be unfortunate. So we talked about networking, and we network horizontally and vertically both ways. Travel across the border. Let me tell you a secret about conferences, seminars, and workshops. There are many workshops and seminars and conferences where they are always looking for people. We cannot raise enough people to attend this conference. And some of them are in the legal area and so on, and many of them are, you don't have to pay anything. Oh, the thing we told you about volunteering, you can go and volunteer and say, I want to register. And you will attend the conference for free, but the number of people you meet there are not just people, but the quality of people you meet there. That is the stuff for which networking is made. You have to search for scholarships for some of these things, diplomas and masters and other courses. The scholarships are always available, and you'll know some of them through networking, some of them through working the internet. Allow me to conclude that in legal practice, the sky is the limit. And for lawyers, we can say the sky is the limit. I used to think this was an absolute statement until I met a pilot. And the pilot told me, you people, the sky is the limit. For us, we go through the sky. And I thought, okay, much obliged, much obliged. But again, as we said, first things first, though, you need to study hard and get your LLB and your diploma in legal practice. Because I could be talking all this, but if you don't get your law degree, then we get stranded at that point. Because I'm talking about people who I hope will be able to graduate with their bachelor's and eventually their diploma. And of course, if you can do a master's and LLM in different fields, it's an added advantage indeed. In many places like Nigeria, if you don't have an LLM, they don't even look at you in many fields, and Uganda we are getting there as well. So when you get an opportunity to do the LLM, and if you are extremely gifted, brilliant, and ambitious, be like Dr. Kisubi and go and do the PhD as well. But what do you want? What do you want in life? Because I was telling my friend Okalasa that for us when we went to school, we needed to finish quickly and get a job. We did not have the luxury of saying, no, I will choose this one. You needed a job so that you could make a living and pay for yourself, pay for your brother, and so on. So it also depends on what your situation is. Sometimes you have to leave school immediately, or you are working through school and you need a job immediately. Are you a dependent or independent? Other people, their parents have already built for them a house and given them a car. So you are not rushing for the first job that comes. In fact, you might do well first studying a little more. But also what is available, because the market is also dynamic and it changes what is available. When we finished school, we were 55 from the Law Development Center. And Attorney General's chambers alone had 50 vacancies. And only 10 of us were interested, and they took all of us. I always tell my friends that we don't know whether we qualified or not, but they said let's take all of them after all. But in life, you need to make a plan and chart how you want to go, how you want to move forward. You need to think about what you can do with the law. Many things. Here I'm bringing in famous lawyers who did something, not just for themselves. And at this point, I wanted to say that, you know, you will make a living. You will earn enough money to make a living. But that cannot be your goal for studying the law. In fact, one of the people here called Thurgood Marshall, who was the first black person on the US Supreme Court, said the law is such an important tool of social transformation to be reduced to just making money. Because money, I mean, you don't have to be a lawyer to make money. You can go and farm and you make money. But the law, you should use it for something. So William Wilberforce here was a member of parliament, a lawyer, and he was very instrumental in ending slave trade. Nelson Mandela, you know, of course, he practiced law and then became a president, but we believe he used his law to help end apartheid in South Africa. Thurgood Marshall, in the US at that time, there was segregated schools for blacks, for whites and all, and one of his battles he fought was to ensure that schools are desegregated, and he did that. You know, he presided over the Civil War, which was about whether to keep slaves or not, and he preserved the Union because of his legal training. So what are you doing apart from, or aspiring to do with the law that you're learning here, apart from just earning a living and getting rich and so on? There should be something more. When all is said and done, I read this somewhere, more is said than done. That was by an unknown person. But allow me to end with this poem by Linda Hill. When all is said and done, what will you leave behind? Who will remember you? How well did you do? When the angels come to claim you, will you be worthy of their fame? When all is said and done. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, my Lord, for this very inspiring lecture. Thank you so much once more. I know that, and I'm certain about it, that most of the things that His Lordship has told us today are not things that we have in everyday lectures. They are not things that we teach as part of our curriculum. And that is why the university takes this opportunity to bring experts who do not tell us from a classroom perspective, but who tell us from their lived experiences. And I think His Lordship has done substantial justice to the topic on what was initially conceived as cross-border legal practice within East Africa to what he enlarged or expanded to be international legal practice. I think we've had quite much to learn from that. And there are some, for me, I have some take-home lessons. I don't know for you, the students. I don't know for my colleagues. I don't know for the students who has made up his mind or her mind right away to go for a passport because we know that you can't talk of cross-border legal practice without having a passport. And you will recall that His Lordship arrived here exactly at 3 p.m. And in the course of his lecture, he has mentioned time management. Some of us behave as if God gave us lesser time than is available to others. So this is an opportunity for you to go back home and do a timetable for yourself and see how well you can manage yourself, you can manage your time. His Lordship also talked about volunteering, and I just want to share my little experience, if it pleases my Lord. I started my career as a volunteer, and I remember when I agitated at one point for some stipend, my supervisor, who happened to have supervised me both at master's and PhD, told me something which I will never forget. He said, Mbele, we are in a capitalist world, and for you to be a man, you must render free services. And I have always put that at the back of my mind, that for you to be a man, for you to be successful in life, you must first of all render free services. And that is what His Lordship talked about volunteering. Of course, we are in an information technology driven age, and it is very important that we make good use of this information and communication technology. Information is Arabic and core, and it is the from the discussion we've had today, from the lecture we've had today, what you need to do is how to harness this opportunity for your academic success and also for legal practice thereafter. So these are very critical things that we should take note of and try as much as possible to put them into practice. And I want to tell you that KIO School of Law has come a long way. We've gone through ages, we've gone through time, and we've produced quite important personalities in society. Today, we have one of ours who is aspiring for the president of Uganda Law Society in the person of Isaac Tukunda. So this is to tell you that you are also at the right place. And I want you to take this opportunity with two hands and to make sure that at the end of the day, we can have more and more of KIO alumni vying for these important positions in society. There are many of them who are advocates, there are many who are prosecutors, there are many who are magistrates, judges, and the likes. So this is the right place for you, my dear students, and do not take things for granted. Grab the opportunities that are provided here with both hands, and as His Lordship has mentioned, the sky is your limit. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We proceed with our program, and I'm happy we are proceeding as scheduled. We will be having a session for questions and answers from our students. As the Dean mentioned initially, this is the opportunity for you to ask all the questions that may have been agitating your mind so that you go home with answers. So this session is meant for questions and answers. Livingston, can you help us go around with the microphone? I can see there is a hand there. 2, 3. I go to that extreme 4 in that order. Where is Livingston? I am. Okay, let's start with the gentleman behind.
The formalization of where the land comes. When there are so many jobs now, there I think when you want to find one. So what why did let somebody have the system because I think you would say that you got that so to accomplish to me.
Okay, thank you. There is a lady here. You bring the microphone to her. So, His Lordship would respond to the questions after all of them have been taken.
Thank you very much, my Lord, for the very wonderful presentation you made before just now. Before my name is Makai Victory. I'm a third year student here at KIU. And it's my very first time to say my notes for my Bazaar. So, just a few hours ago, I was reading a newspaper and there was a story that intrigued me. So, a certain gentleman did his postgraduate diploma in Kenya, and when he came to Uganda, apparently he had to wait 1 year to be assessed before he can be enrolled as an advocate in the High Court. He sues the law council, and in the end, he loses the case. And the reason is that they had the court can overturn this decision because it is only in, let's say, the court of jurisdiction of the law council control or make regulations over this matter. So my concern is this: what are the complexities for cross-border practice for an aspiring counsel, just to be true to our topic today, an aspiring counsel who is crossing from his graduate diploma to employment in Uganda? What are the complexities in this field, and what are the possibilities for there to be law reforms to make this as seamless as possible so that people are not discouraged from practicing or maybe doing their postgraduate diplomas in other countries? Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to have 5 questions. So, you go to that extreme. Let's try to have a good spread.
Well,
Okay, please, you come closer. You come closer. So, after him, we'll take the lady behind there. And I see a hand far behind. Okay, so we'll take the lady and the gentleman behind. And we'll close it. Thank you.
thank you so much. My name is Akiko Alaga River. Right. Thank you. I'm a 4 years old. I mean, my my question is it a guarantee that it's wrong and when one is with a general fund being together? Do you have to make sure that the law society were calculated for that council? They try to verify your identity chains and are they in the the society? And the second is there any other limitation that is there maybe for loans? And whether if you want to have for instance, I students, someone just give you loan and then I'm playing the children different care so then so that so is there any period of time finding out so any photographs someone so like look at my it's because I also when you are talking goodness like triggers As students overall, we have respect to respond. But our so disappointed when I was in school. In one of the cases, that was the between our students and our printers. I'm not going to mention one of the areas. One of them located to us he had really there and he was in secret. So we found it so conflicting when what we are told different things doing we see some girls so
Thank you. Thank you.
My Lord, just everyone. My name is Julia. My question is regards to volunteer. Currently, applying for volunteer, maybe internship, maybe yeah, internships. What says you're given opportunities for one year. So as a very opportunities for the opportunities great. So opportunities for volunteer due to the donations out there. That's what happened in the Thank you. Free on board to the everyone's Thank you very much.
Thank you for that ambitious request. Yes.
my Lord, justice, somehow, yeah. My question is somehow theirs, but also mine. You talked about that now the world is as we are going out there, you say by the time you are going out, you were 50. But for us, as we are going out, we are over 12. Yes. When you look, when you ask me, like, I would like, I would request that I that if someone wants, why can't that happen? Because it's international, as you say, that you cannot think of moving minus funds. Like moving those districts. Ours is districts like moving from central, northern, eastern, other sides. So I request that you tell us about opportunities. The other for the young ones, what opportunity what the farmers and
Thank you very much. We welcome the comments of the learned justice of the Supreme Court in regards to those questions that have been posed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It shows us that you are following, you are awake, and the questions are very, very interesting. Kyria asked about personal branding. Of course, you know, we are all lawyers, but eventually you have to distinguish yourself from among the very many. What is your edge over all the others? And a friend always uses the phrase that you need to get away from the bottom where it is crowded and move a little bit out. So you have to find a way of getting out from the crowds, and that is the thing about personal branding. What is it about you that will stand out for other people? Is it the way you keep time? Is it the way you do the extra bit on your research? Is it your presentation? And there are many, many, many ways of doing this. You said something about jobs. You know, jobs definitely are competitive. They are fewer, and but they are always jobs. You heard that my wife is a professor of communication, but every year organizations tell her please give us your first top 5 students every year. So I know that every year the top 5 are guaranteed. They don't even need to apply. The employers are coming directly to the university and say, please give us your top 5. So are you among the top 5? Then you don't even need to worry about jobs. They will be asking these people. And so because jobs are being created, people are retiring, others are dying, so there are always jobs. That should not worry you so much. Just what you should worry is personal branding and ensuring that you have the edge. Makai, enrollment. So you see, of course, there is a bit of a crisis with the Lord Development Center, especially this year. And so people begin coming up with all kinds of ideas. I have got some people consulting me on whether they can go to the Kenya School of Law. Some people used to go to the Rwanda School of Law. But you see, as a lawyer, as a human being, but definitely as a lawyer, before you make a move, you must research. Don't just go blindly into something. So you cannot say, okay, Uganda Law Development Center has not taken me, let me go to Kenya School of Law. But do you know the implications? Are you sure Uganda will accept Kenya School of Law qualification, or Rwanda for that matter? So number one is before you make a move, don't just make a move for the sake of it. First research. It can be costly to rush. You'd rather take time, research, and then find out. So the case you have mentioned, indeed, I know, and again, this is the law council. Is an open place, it's a public office. You need to go to them and say, okay, Lord Development Center can take me. Can I go to Kenya School of Law, Southern Sudan School of Law? Then they will give you the information and they say, for us here, only Lord Development Center. If you go to Kenya, you can practice in Kenya and so on and so on. So let's find out information before we jump into things and then eventually cause backlog in the courts and the matter is so you would rather wait and go to Lord Development Center a little later than go and undertake a costly experiment and then come and realize that no, you cannot. Of course, you could, because the other thing is, it is important to be doing something. You cannot just go sit home and say, I'm waiting for Lord Development Center in 2 years' time. You have to be doing something. So to the credit of that person, is they have an additional qualification. They are now very conversant with the Kenyan legal system, and it is an addition. It really is not a waste of time. It is that they cannot use it to practice, but it is a value addition. And of course, this is now an area where you need to understand that you have to go into why do we have a law development center? Why do people have exams? It's because they want to regulate the quality of people who go into practice. That's why each country has its own, because nobody can regulate for you. So if you let in other people, you are basically subjecting yourself to the other people's standards, which you are not sure. So you have to know that part of it is to regulate. And of course, now I can tell you the discussion happening among lawyers and judges is that, for us when we went to law school, the subjects for studying law were known. It was literature, it was economics, it was history, and things like that. But now I'm told that you can do Luganda, Lusoga, and Runyankore and go into law school. Now the lecturers are having to teach you grammar, English construction. So you can understand where the development center will now say, and why us? Because, we all have to protect our profession. Because if the profession gets so run down without any standards and regulation, Will it be worth its salt? Will your children want to join it? So we also have a duty to preserve the reputation and the standards of the profession. I mean, if you, okay, we can argue about colonialism, but English is the language of court. Now, if you can't construct an English sentence, what kind of lawyer are you? Okay, you can go and practice in the customary courts and all, but we have to set up another organization to vet people practicing in customary court. So you have to understand why Law Development Center is there, and all of us have to support that there has to be some standardization. Otherwise, you'll be getting into a profession which has lost reputation, and it is nothing to write home about. About law reform, yes, especially East African community. What does it mean? Because East African community, there is now free movement of people more than ever before. There is free movement of goods. The revenue authorities now, if you are aware, they pay taxes in Mombasa and then the goods just come in. So what we can be agitating for is, yes, in the law reform area for legal practice, we should make it easier for lawyers to move from Uganda, go and practice in Kenya with the Ugandan. But now the question again that you have to deal with is, are you prepared for the competition that will be brought on by Kenyan lawyers, Rwandese lawyers, Tanzanian lawyers? Are you able, if you are going to law school with the Swahili and Unyapitara and so on, are you ready to really compete, or will they come and run you out of town? And this is what each country is really trying to protect. They are saying, if we open it up too quickly, then maybe the Kenyans are at an advantage. They will come and they will take all the business, and then our lawyers. So there is need to have this conversation. I can tell you why it is taking so long, because this country is saying we have to protect our lawyers, because Ugandan lawyers will be too aggressive. They come and take all the business in Rwanda or in Tanzania. This is what is holding up the thing. So maybe we need the law reform to have one standard law development center for East Africa, so that we have equal standards. But this is a very engaging discussion involving the heads, and because we are at different levels of legal development. But law reform, yes, this is an area that can engage. Adrico Alaka, you have famous names only. So you are talking about cross-border, it is the same thing. So, as I said, there are two ways of doing this. One, you could go and affiliate with a firm, and they can get you a temporary practicing certificate for a particular case. Or you could go and do the back course in that country and get registered so that you can practice there, practice here, wherever you want. But what I know is if you have a particular matter you want to handle, they can quickly process for your document, as long as you have supporting documents from your country. I actually know of an American who practiced law here for a particular case in the Court of Appeal. He was interested in representing a client in person, and he came. The Chief Justice gave him a dispensation to practice law in Uganda for 2 months, just for purposes of that case. So it depends on what you really want. Now, you mentioned that at the Supreme Court, you witnessed somebody come in with sneakers. So now you see, like we are seated here with professors. So there are people with sneakers, I'm sure, behind there. Maybe somebody even has slippers, but we cannot see, because we are this way. By the time judges come into court, everybody is seated behind the wooden panel desks. So the only thing we can see are the flaps, are the gown. Anything below, you can basically. But so you ask yourself the question: why would the lawyer worth his salt want to come to court in sneakers when it is well known that Yeah, and again, why weren't you a whistleblower? Why did you come and send a small note that there's a lawyer here disrespecting our profession? And then we would do an inspection. So we want to look at your shoes or something. In other words, the point remains that we have our decorum, we have our presentation, but we may not be able to see everything that is going on. Because we come when everybody is seated, we leave when everybody is still seated. So you could even come in barefoot and will not know, because we are looking above the chest. At Punda, you mentioned the thing, volunteering. You see, most things in life are for looking for. You don't sit in your bed and things come there. Most things you have to first get out of your door, and then you look for opportunities. The opportunities come after you got out of your house and so on. So volunteering opportunities or opportunities will not come when you are in your bedroom or sitting room. They will come after you've started walking around, going to town, seeing, networking. That is how you know. And of course, the courts, I can guarantee that any organization will have volunteering opportunities. I don't know of an organization where they will say, no, volunteers are not welcome. I think anywhere depends on how you approach and who you have networked with and that kind of thing. So indeed, yeah, there will be opportunities at the courts, but it depends on the approach. The last person, I failed to get their name, but he says we're 50 and now there are 1,000 lawyers going out. Yes, you could look at this as a problem, but you could look at it as an opportunity as well. They talked about somebody, I think, was asked to go and sell shoes to a group of people who had never worn shoes. And there were two people. They told them, you go and sell shoes. Maybe it was butter. And they went to a certain village, people had never put on shoes. So the first person came back and said, no, we can never get a market there. Those people have never put on shoes at all. So, no way. The second person said, what a great opportunity. No single shoe in that community. We are going to sell shoes to each and every individual of those. We are going to introduce shoes to them and we'll sell the shoes to them. So it depends on how you look at the equation. When you have 1,000 lawyers coming out, is that a major problem or is it an opportunity? I think it is a great opportunity, but it depends on how you look at it and how you harness that opportunity. For example, 1,000 lawyers, you can go to UBOS and find out how many people per lawyer, even if you are 1,000 coming out, how many. I go to my village is in Taleja, and when I go, I'm a judge, but the number of people who come for legal help, and at the beginning I'll tell them, I'm a judge, I cannot, you need to see a lawyer. But for them, they don't know judge, lawyer, people. They just know their son studied law and he has to. So every day, I get about 10 people camping outside of my because they need legal help. And I always think, but these people say there are so many lawyers in Kampala. Look at this market here. And the thing is, I tell them that, okay, I will help you, but I'm doing it pro bono. The number of wananchi who at the end still want to give me money, they offer me. And I said, but why didn't you see a lawyer? They said they didn't have money. But now where are you getting the money you're giving me? But it's because they have this impression that lawyers are expensive. They will need 1 million before they handle my case. But they're always offering me 200,000, and I said, no, I am not doing this for money. Why then? I mean, you don't have to all be in Kampala. The opportunities, and again, as we said, is it the money you're looking for, and that kind of thing. I think you read about barefoot lawyers and what they do. I mean, 1,000 per year, still a drop in the ocean as far as our economy here is concerned. And thank you very much.
Thank you, my Lord, for those responses. We are very happy you've addressed them in a way that conveys the exact meaning to the students, and I'm sure they have taken notes of that. I'm sorry, we would have loved to take as many questions from the students as possible, but we have a time schedule that we are supposed to operate by. So we have closed this segment for questions and answers, and we are moving on to presentation of certificate and gifts to our guests of honor. And in that regard, we will have the DVC, Dr. Ashibi, representing the Vice Chancellor, present the plaque to the guests of honor. And then we will have the campus admin present the certificate to the guests of honor. So kindly the DVC, accompanied by the Dean School of Law, present the plaque to the guests of honor as a symbol of our appreciation for taking out precious time out of your very busy schedule to come. And Livingston, please, the microphone. This one cannot go there because it is connected here.
All right. Before I come and present this award, I have myself and I thought that we could draw what our including and give you a here. There is something wrong with us. And then for you yourself in the city, the town of small cities, I think you should appreciate yourself enough. My Lord, as I am here today and I'm planned, I will start calling you in my house. It is indeed my honor and pleasure to stand for you. To appreciate you very sincerely on behalf of the Vice Chancellor of the Management System of the Collector Strangers for so we thank you so much. Now, only our understanding. You have indeed inspired us to be in this family on how to control risks. For me, I'm a man. For the lawyers, I'm sure you have lost an understanding of how to practice international law. So thank you so much. And on behalf of management, thank you. Enjoy. Of this event, that whenever remember that you are left legacy here, and of course you are expected to help us to carry it. Thank you much.
His Lordship is still standing. We invite our dear campus admin, Madam Christine, to move forward and hand him the certificate to show that we were the recipient of the knowledge given to us today by the Honorable Justice of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I want to take this opportunity to award you the certificate for appreciation, which is from the School of Law Consultation, delivered on special guest public lecture to our students and staff on the 4th of September 2024. Thank you.
The sign is supposed to be sharing photographer material. Okay.
Photographer, please, can you come close as our guest of honor signs the official visitors book of the university? Can you come and take a photo of that photographer as His Lordship signs the official visitors book of the university? So put an indelible mark that he was present here this 4th day of September 2024 for a public lecture at the School of Law. We are more than happy that His Lordship found time to come and be with us here this afternoon. We are also very happy with the students for the decorum, for the massive turnout, and it is our honest belief that you have gained a lot of knowledge today that will enrich your understanding of cross-border legal practice. As His Lordship signs the visitors book, we will be moving towards the end of this program, and we'll end the program with two last items. That is group photos. We're going to take group photos, and the group photos will have the top university administrators here with us, having a photo with His Lordship. That is particularly the DVC, the campus admin, because we also have the Director of Quality Assurance and other top university administrators that are here. You'll join in a group photo with His Lordship. So I think we can move. What? Okay, not after. Okay, but before then, we shall first of all have a round of thanks, which shall be given by the Guild President, Kampala International University. Let's welcome Her Excellency the Guild President as she gives a round of thanks. His Lordship did mention that by nature and training, alone is a leader, and this is self-evident. Excellency, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Madam, once again, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Once again, my name is Kainaba Wasifong, the 20th Youth President of the mighty Kampala International University. And for your information, my lord, we are the leading private university in Uganda. We are deeply grateful for your presence at our mighty university, Kampala International University. We are so grateful for the message you have delivered to us. On behalf of the entire student community, we are so grateful, and it's such an honor and a privilege to have you with us.
My Lord, please accept our heartfelt thanks for having us here, for engaging with us, for answering our questions, for providing us with guidance. Thank you so much. My Lord, I again thank you for this unforgettable experience, and I pray that your legacy continue to inspire us to strive for excellence and justice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, the dear President, Kampala International University, and we hope the law school continues to lead positively as we are by nature and training endowed with the uncommon characteristic of leadership. Thank you very much. At this point in time, uh, I want to call on Ms. Jennifer to say a closing prayer, and thereafter we shall move to the ground floor where group photos will be taken, because the technical team has just hinted that this room is a bit dark now and we may not have the quality of photos that we desire. So we will have the photos downstairs. And I invite Ms. Jennifer to give us a closing prayer. Thank you very much.
Good evening once again. Respecting all religions gathered here, I pray that we humbly humble ourselves. Closing prayer. Father Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the blessing of the day. We thank you for his lordship and of the time you allowed him to be with us and to share with us all the experiences and mentor us in our capacities and careers. We thank you for the school of law. We thank you for the dean. We thank you for the school administrators. We thank you for this opportunity, because it's an opportunity that forever stay engraved in the school of law and in the university that we hosted His Lordship Justice Chibita, Kampala International University. We thank you for our lives. We thank you for our students. We thank you for our lecturers. And as we go out today, may we be blessed. May we walk in your anointing. May we be highly favored. And wherever we shall go, may we know of your presence in and out. And may we live exemplary life like His Lordship told us, because that's our home. Father, may this be something that we take home, and may we be an example to the world that we are not only going to raise lawyers from KIU, Kampala International University, but we are going to raise lawyers with a difference. We thank you once again, and we bless your mighty name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Let's all stand and remain standing until His Lordship has exited. So, things are here. Yeah.